Ladies and gentlemen, I do not think you're ready for this. It is our 20th episode of Bump That. 20
Squidward live.
20 episodes, and we're filming this on 420. How amazing is that? All right, enough with you back there.
Are you talking to me?
No, 420. It's 420, and we're filming our 20th episode.
Oh, I get it. It's a pot-related joke. Oh, yeah.
Okay, anyways, yes, we have been filming, or we have been doing this podcast for 20 flipping weeks. Wow.
And you guys are still here. Oh my goodness gracious. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning
to
in.
us ramble and scream and rant about things that nobody cares about. So
Ladies and gentlemen, Squidward live.
I do think these are very interesting topics that we do talk about.
Speaking of which, let's get into the news. So, Spider-Verse sequel is going to be coming out, and they landed the directors. I'm very excited because Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, I think we can all agree, was one of the best superhero movies of the past 10 years.
It was so good.
I think it's great, not even super great, just a great superhero film. It was just a great all-around movie, animation. Yeah. It was bravura. It was awesome. So they're going to be getting a sequel for that. And we got a couple of neat directors. Joaquim Dos Santos of the last Airbender Avatar fame is going to be one of the directors of that. I think he's going to lend a hand to that stylized animation that Avatar is so famous for. And then a couple other guys called Kemp Powers and Justin K. Thompson. They're going to be...
Justin!
Good job. Don't mess it up, Justin. Get on the dang bag, you know. Anyways, they're going to be directing Avatar. We should be getting the whole cast back for that, so awesome. I'm excited for that film. You know, and I got a bone to pick with you guys. Last week or a week before, you guys were like trashing on PlayStation, like, when is PlayStation going to come out with some news or some games releases? Well, Katie was like, April 1st, Nintendo's going to come out with some hot shiz. April 1st is come and gone. What happened, guys?
No,
what
you're
happened?
so right. Nintendo, you have so failed us. Where is anything? Freaking news?
I feel failed that nothing has come out. But,
yeah,
you know, that's just the way it is. I was not sure that anything was going to come out, but, you know, I had my hopes high. Nothing happened, alas.
Still hoping for something related to Donkey Kong, Zelda, Pokemon. I don't know. We've got all these anniversaries going on. I need some meat. Give me some meat, Nintendo.
You still have all summer. Hopefully, sometime in the summer, something will pop
and
off,
Nintendo did say that they are going to be at E3 this summer.
Yes,
with
thank God.
Premieres. So that is something, and maybe they're just holding out for that. And if that's the case, you know, I'm totally cool with that. I'm totally cool with waiting until E3 and getting some hype. So, you know, nothing wrong with that. Oh, and Brian, I will throw PlayStation a bone because for a couple weeks they've been in hot water because they were going to discontinue games for the PlayStation 3 and the Vita. Well, they backtrack on that. I think it was either today or yesterday. They said, oh, sorry. We didn't mean to step on toes. We didn't know. Sorry.
That was the whole thing. It was a big controversial issue. I know a lot of people in the gaming community were like, oh my gosh, my PS Vita, how will I live? But, you know, they, PlayStation, Sony, they backed off. So that was a good move on them. Yeah.
That was a very good move on them. That speaks a lot of volume. That speaks volumes for how they treat their customers and their fan base. Admittedly, Nintendo, they're like, man, no, you wanted to play Mario. You wanted to play Mario 35? No, sorry. Instead, a week later, we're gonna give you Pac-Man 99. Have you guys played?
Yay!
Pac-Man
what a good
99?
trade-off. Oh no, I don't ever play any of those 99 games. I didn't play Tetris 99. I didn't play Mario 35 or whatever. I don't really care about that type of gameplay.
I will say,
Dang.
I love Tetris 99. Love Tetris 99. I have like 50 hours on Tetris 99.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah, but for the other two, I just couldn't get into it. Maybe it's just because I'm not very good at Pac-Man, and I get really anxious when I'm playing the original Mario. And just having things fling-flonged at me from other people, no. So,
I will say, Nintendo just had an indie showcase that apparently was
Yeah.
very well received,
it
And-
was.
and Monster Hunter has been doing pretty well. So I will give Nintendo a little pat on the back. But moving into some more news, the Flash movie, Brian, what is up with that?
So the Flash film is going to be starting production here. They did. If you haven't heard, there's been a lot of back and forth. Like I would say, even last year, there were reports that they were going to be bringing back Michael Keaton to resurrect his old Batman role, which everybody was really excited
That's
for.
interesting.
Michael Keaton is one of the revered Batman actors, so it was very exciting. But then it went with COVID and everything. There was a little bit, oh no, maybe I don't.
So would it be the same Flash from the the new movie that just came out?
It is Ezra Miller. Ezra Miller is returning as the Flash, and pretty much what they're saying is that this Flash film is kind of gonna clean up all the DC, because while the Marvel Cinematic Universe is just very clear and concise, has this pure narrative where everything makes sense.
Right.
The
Well,
DC
even all the characters are the
Extended
same.
the DC extended universe is all just all over the place, mix match. So apparently, this Flash movie is just gonna fix everything, get everything all in one concise universe. So, yeah, it should be an interesting movie. I'm excited. Michael Keaton as Batman is gonna be a treat to see. So.
# bring back George Clooney. Said no one ever.
Yeah, I don't know who's saying that. If anything,
No.
it would be Christian Bale. But something to bring back is Mad Max Fury Road. My gosh, what a great
Woo!
movie. So there's going to be a sequel coming out, right?
Right. So the film is going to be focusing on Charlize Theron's character, Imperator Furiosa, in the film, who was such a fan favorite. Everybody loved that character. And so it's that role is going to be taken by Anna Joy Taylor, who has that one show on Netflix. I believe it's about chess. Have you
There's
guys seen that show?
Peaky Blinders and Queen's Gambit.
Oh, okay. So yeah, that's the Netflix chess show. So she's going to be taking over the role of Furiosa. It's going to be starting filming in Australia. Chris Hemsworth is in it too, in a undisclosed role. So that should be pretty cool.
That is cool.
So yeah, I'm very excited for that one because Fury Road. I don't know if I ever told you guys this, but I took my in-laws to see Fury Road.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
Yikes.
Yeah, that's a
Big
whole
yikes.
story.
Yay.
No, while I was watching with them, I was like, "Oh my god, this is probably the greatest movie I've ever seen in my life." But I don't know if they were prepared for such a movie like that. It was
Probably not.
awesome.
Your
No,
sweet,
but it was
your sweet little Polish in-laws were probably like, "What on earth are we watching right now?"
Why is that guy with all those pregnant ladies? Like, why is he running people over with the car? What on earth?
Why
is
are
going
they
on?
spraying
Oh my gosh.
spray paint on their teeth?
Why
Silver.
are they praying to Valhalla?
Yikes.
Hey, it was a good time. It was an
Oh.
experience that I'm sure they'll never forget. 'Cause
I
that's
am
a
very
once in a
excited
lifetime
though.
movie.
I'm super
Yeah.
excited though for this new movie. Another
That'd be
movie
epic.
I'm excited for is Mortal Kombat, but we talked about that last week. If you haven't seen last week's episode, check it out. What are you doing here? Come back. Just go check out the other one, then come back. Okay.
Subscribe and click the bell for notifications.
Exactly.
Or, give
Anyways,
us a thumbs down while you're at it.
yeah,
I'm
Yeah.
always curious, why people give thumbs downs, but I mean, just do it.
They're
No
just
one's
being
stopping
honest,
you.
Yeah,
being
why not?
honest.
Engagement's engagement.
Further news for Katie about a show that she likes on Netflix, an animated show about some people in a castle and maybe vampires and stuff.
Oh yeah. So Castlevania season 4 is premiering on Netflix on May 13th. So there was a lot of controversy surrounding last season. I'm not going to go into great detail, but let's just say this is definitely not a show for children. In fact, I was talking with our cousin Fidel about it, and he's like, "Did you get to that one episode?" I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "Oh, you'll know what I mean." And so this is definitely not a show for children, but
So it's
dang
what
it, if it's
episode? So I'm gonna
not-
go right. I'm gonna go right now and check that poop out.
Yeah.
Man. Heck
So,
yeah.
this is definitely an
No, don't
entertaining
talk.
show, though.
Don't talk about it. But yeah, cool. Is it good? I've never heard of it.
Well, literally, that's what I was going to talk about, and then you. Okay, so yes,
hurry up already.
It is a very good show. It is very actiony, very suspenseful. It does drag on in some places. Like, get on with it. But yes, very suspenseful. Every now and then, there's this one scene that will pop in my head from season 3, this past season, that was just way too clever. It reminded me of Azula, like Azula type character, where you don't know where she's gonna go next, what she's going to do. Very mature show. I can't stress that enough, but very entertaining. So that comes out on May 13th. Castlevania. And it's the final season, so it's coming to an end. Just like Attack on
Indeed.
Titan, man. I just finished Attack on Titan, or got up to the latest episode that's out on Hulu right now. What the heck is... I'm just throwing that out there. What the heck is going on with Attack on Titan? Just leaving that question open-ended. Also,
Indeed.
moving on. Speaking of Azula, weird news, a little bit of weird news. There is allegedly a new series coming out that is Avatar The Last Airbender related. Coming to, is it YouTube, Ileana?
That is what the rumor states. It said YouTube on, Earth Day. I don't know. That's literally all of the article said.
It's supposed to be like a week-long or a weekend-long event, like a 3-day event where there'll be interviews and special premieres with new episodes that nobody knows anything about. Original content, so it's very strange. It's very hush hush. So if you want to view that, which I'm going to be glued to it if I can, to view it, you go to the Avatar's YouTube channel. That's I guess what it's called, Avatar's YouTube channel. And I guess we're gonna see what happens. I'm very intrigued. This came out of nowhere. There's no mention of Aaron Ehas or Mike DiMartino or Brian Konietzko.
What I've heard is that this is going to be following some of Toph's story. I really don't know much more than that. That's just what the rumor states. I'm really excited to see what this is about because more Toph. Everybody loves Toph, our favorite earthbender, metal bender, Higcha, So it'll be really cool to get some more info about what this is going on. And if it actually is like a little short series type of thing, we don't know. But more Toph. So that would be really cool. Come on.
What if it's like in the style of those chibi shorts that I love?
No, it'd be cool if it was like in the style of the comic book. Something new.
Yeah, something new. But I like the chibis.
No, the chibis is cheap.
Oh.
Anyways. Yeah. That's it for
that's
news.
the news.
Alrighty, it is time for dessert with KT. What you got for us today?
I got a sweet thing for you, girl. Let me lay it on you.
Let's see. What's that sweet thing?
So, this weekend, Ileana, my mom, and I went on a very, very quick trip to Orlando to visit family. And every time we go there, we stop at a little market called Las Americas, and this time I have a double header for you, by the way. This time I have Caribena coconut cookies. These look like they are handmade and just ready to rock. It smells awesome. They smell very gingerbready, but it's very soft. Let's see.
Yeah, not a crunch in sight.
No, this is a soft cookie. To be honest, I'm not getting a lot of coconut. I'm getting a lot of
Gingerbread.
gingerbread. I don't even know if there's gingerbread in this.
Oh, I'm kind of
It's
jealous. I
great.
like gingerbread.
Yeah, this would be good with a cup of coffee, but I would put cream in.
Girl, you gotta learn your lesson. You always say the same thing. Either you want milk or coffee. Why not bring it next time?
Yeah, I know. All right, and then lastly, I have this is a coconut macaroon. Coco Camao. That's a weird word. From Victor Cake. All right, and these are a little on the tougher side of a macaroon. What?
Is the coconut hitting much harder with that one?
Oh yeah. Woo. These little suckers are dangerous.
Yo, save me a piece of that gingerbread.
I got a lot, so I'll save.
Yeah,
some.
save me some of that.
Of the two, I have to give it to the macaroon. That's Victor Cake. And the coconut cookie, definitely good. I'll actually call it like a gingerbread cookie. That's more of a gingerbread cookie.
I like gingerbread, so save one of those for me.
Yeah, Caribena coconut cookie. Eat local.
Alrighty, Brian. Do you have a streaming pick for us?
I do. This one is such a treat. This one's pretty old school, actually. So on Netflix, there is this great animated cartoon that's 2 seasons long. It's got a lot of episodes. I really recommend it. It's a great show. Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated. Now, before you say anything, before you're like, Scooby-Doo, what are you talking about, old man? All right, this is not your mom and dad's Scooby-Doo. This isn't even the Scooby-Doo from the 2000s with the CGI Scooby-Doo and
Yikes,
Matthew
that one was
Lillard
so bad.
and Sarah Michelle Gellar as Daphne. Freddie Prinze Jr. Yeah, this is a new one. This is probably the best version iteration of the Scooby-Doo characters. Pretty much, it's been set up to modern times. While the Mystery Incorporated team, the Mystery Machine, they're all still pretty groovy and chasing ghosts and solving mysteries. It's got a much more modern flair. The story isn't just a 1 week episode on its own story. Over 2 seasons, there's this entire mystery going on that Scooby-Doo and gang, Fred, Velma, Daphne, Shaggy, that they're all involved in and that they're trying to solve. So it's this actually really fascinating ongoing mystery that's going on in their hometown. So it's set up for modern times. Scooby-Doo and Shaggy are still eating a bunch, and they're not. I mean, they're not rolling doobies in the back. Hey, 420. But it's a lot of fun. Really cool animation, great voice acting. If you might even catch Mark Hamill voicing one of the characters in there. It's really great show. I'm serious. Give it a shot. It's a lot of fun. Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated.
You just mentioned Mark Hamill, and Hunter and I just finished Avatar: The Last Airbender, and my gosh, whenever Ozai says "prepare to die" to Aang,
prepare to die.
It's so good. I literally was like kicking my legs, like, that's so cool. Mark Hamill is the man. But
you know what's my favorite? You know what's my favorite line from Mark Hamill in Avatar?
What?
Really? You're going to fight wearing pants.
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
That's great. Well, with all that laughter, it's time to turn all that happy joy into sad, sad times. Why is that, KT?
I don't know. Why is that, Brian?
Why
Why
Well,
are we getting sad?
are we crying already?
today, everybody, we're going to have a conversation, especially with the Oscars coming up. We're going to be talking about the films that moved us, that shook us, that made us the people who we are. Pretty much, we're talking about movies that made us cry.
That you had to bring some tissues to the theater, that you left and your eyes were puffy, and you were like, don't look at me.
I
Let me
mean,
tell you,
and
it,
I
it
can.
was-
Oh, go ahead, Katie. Yeah.
when I was trying to make my list, I was like, at first I was thinking, oh, what movies have, did I cry in? No, it just keeps, the list just keeps getting longer and longer.
Yeah,
and
same.
longer. It was really hard. It's gonna be hard to narrow this down.
Luckily,
if
I
I just-
limited my down. I limited mine down.
I just want to make sure. I just want to go on the record that the one movie that made Ileana cry was Monsters Inc. when she was a little kid. I know we talked about it
Who
before,
didn't
but
cry
man,
watching that?
this kid, I just looked over because it was a really good movie. I wasn't crying, but I just looked over and my little sister was just like bawling, dude. It was like, what the heck? Man?
I mean, it was so sad. I literally felt like Boo when I was that age watching Monsters Inc. I was Boo and saying goodbye to Kitty. That was so sad. And I felt bad for, everybody. I just had to let out my emotions. But I narrowed my list down to 7. I don't know about you guys. I've only got 7 to talk about.
That's fine. Just go. We'll just be free. There's this one. We're not. It's not really regimented, or just
And
go
I-
for
I'll probably,
it.
I'll
you know.
probably
sure-
spitball some of mine.
And I'm sure there's going to
Yeah.
be some ones that we have in common because, a tearjerker movie is going to most likely be a tearjerker movie for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But I'll go ahead and start us off with a more serious movie, and that would be The Green Mile.
Oh yes.
Really? Wow.
That movie
Yeah.
did make me cry.
That's a
I
good one, but I'm not sure it's a tearjerker for me, and I love that movie.
Oh,
the
yeah.
one that made the scene that made me cry. It wasn't necessarily that I was sad. I was sad, but it was more I was angry crying for the fact that the guy didn't use the sponge. He didn't wet the sponge during that whole execution
Really?
scene.
Yeah.
I was
Wow.
angry crying. I was like,
Yeah.
how inhumane, how evil of a person. I was just crying and So
Yeah. That's a hard one.
That's a good one. Kind of like along those lines. Because I'm looking at just like my favorite films, and for me, it's A Wonderful Life. There's
Oh,
there's
yeah.
a lots of different parts in A Wonderful Life that where I like, I just feel like my chest heave, and it's like right even in the beginning, like when everybody's praying, like, dear God, please help my friend George, oh, dear Lord Heavenly Father, pray for my husband, and then I all of a sudden, dear God, please take care of Daddy. And I just my chin like,
that's so sad.
Oh my God, it's just this ridiculous,
Cue Free Willy.
Yeah.
God.
But it's at the end too. It's just everything that George Bailey goes through at the end that it comes to a halt, and he's like just desperate. And that's the beauty of Jimmy Stewart and his performance, where he's just so desperate. He loves his family. He wants to get back to them, and he's just a man on the edge. And that at the end, it always kills me. It just and at the end when everybody's like singing Auld Lang Syne too, I'm just like, oh.
It's so
Waterworks.
beautiful.
Speaking of Jimmy Stewart, one of my picks was Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. The
Yes.
first time I saw that,
Tearjerker.
yeah.
Wow,
yeah, with me, because it was such an emotional ending. It wasn't even that it was sad. It was just so emotional. He put his heart and soul into whatever it was he was doing in the Senate, and it was so passionate, and it just ends with spoilers for a movie from 1939. It ends up with him like passing out and landing on a stack of papers and just
I
falling
love
down.
that.
And
It's
then
one of
it's
my
like
favorites, man.
and
So
then
good.
the whole room just erupts, and it's triumph, but he's not even conscious to see it. And when I first saw that, I was like screaming at the TV because obviously we rented the movie, and I was just ranting, like come on, just ranting at it. And so I was crying, I was happy, I was emotional. So,
All right,
Jimmy
so
Stewart.
I have a question for you guys because I think this one is pretty tough, actually.
All right.
So this is a trilogy question. Which film in this trilogy makes you tear up the most? Is it Fellowship of the Ring, Two Towers, or Return of the King? Which one is like that? It's the one that you're gonna tear the most.
Let me answer this one if you don't mind. It has to be Lord of the Rings 3.
Yes, I was just going to say same.
Absolutely. It from the moment that the Rohirrim is going to go help in Pelennor Fields, from that moment to like the very end of the moment, my heart was in my throat. And the last like 45 minutes, I must have been bawling the entire 45 minutes the first time I saw that movie. That is something that will stick in my mind until I die. Just how like snotty and just like
Yikes.
yeah, like the tears were welling up in my eyes so bad. Oh, it was just like it was a snot fest.
I still
so that
cry.
is an easy pick.
I still cry. Mine is also Return of the King when Sam decides to finally, pick up Mr. Frodo.
Yes.
And I can, but I can carry you. That's still like, oh, it's such a powerful moment. And I'm
then
like,
the music swells and it's like
the tears come streaming down my face, Coldplay.
So there's two parts for me. It's definitely in Return of the King at the very end. We're at the harbor and they're all saying goodbye, and
yes.
when Gandalf is like, "My dear hobbits, I have to leave you now."
Yeah.
You know,
gosh, I'm gonna tear up
and
now.
and it is so eloquent, and I think it's the beauty of Tolkien's words, the way he just because those words are directly from Tolkien. Like, here on the shores we bid, like he's like, do not cry. Not all tears are tears of sadness, And then there's like, come on, Frodo, let's go. And it's like, no, my gosh,
no, so sad.
But also, I think Fellowship of the Ring at the end, when Aragorn is with Boromir at the death scene at the end.
Yeah, that's
I feel
a good
like
one.
that scene, and it's part of it's the beauty of Viggo Mortensen's performance in that too, because there's no hope in a way, and he's trying to like tell Boromir, you did your duty. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I'm not.
Well,
gonna
even
go
it's like,
down,
these are two strong men having this like, emotional conversation of like, that this could be the end, but it's not going to. We're going to fight until the death, So I think that's a really, powerful scene in itself, just for like two grown men to have this emotional conversation.
I love it.
with
Sean
love.
Bean and Viggo Mortensen, just
or even when talking about Fellowship of the Ring, even when Gandalf died, when it comes to the lore of the Lord of the Rings, that was really the first time that Legolas had ever seen pain like that from somebody passing away. When the hobbits were crying, that he looks confused. It's intentional. If you look at Orlando Bloom's performance, going back, go back and look at Orlando Bloom's performance.
Yes,
because that is when Legolas sees such anguish from somebody else, and he feels compassion for them, and that's like, oh, and it's also the fact that Gandalf dies. So it's just like, oh.
I'm gonna switch to a different type of. Well, this isn't a trilogy. It's a forgily. Yeah, that's the one.
A saga. We'll call it a saga.
For me, I cried my eyes out during Toy Story 3 and 4.
Yes. Oh
Yeah.
my
Toy
gosh.
Story
Yeah.
3
No.
especially because, it was goodbye. We thought it was the end. We said goodbye. We grew up with with these toys. We grew up with Andy. We were Andy, and we said goodbye, and it was
I'm
sad.
still Andy. I still have my toys.
And then, oh my gosh, sitting in the theater watching Toy Story 4 when it was like really goodbye. Like
Oh my
Woody
gosh.
is
Yeah.
separating himself from Buzz and Jesse and the gang. I was like, keep it in, keep it in. Oh my gosh. And then just, it just spills out because it was such a lovely
I
moment.
feel like as parents too, with my kids when we saw that movie, Joanna and I, that we were crying more than the kids. I think it was more
Yeah.
like for us. Like that emotional hit, was for us. While they were like, "Oh, that's really sad," but we were like, "Hold me, hold me close."
It's like it's loss. It's a type of loss. It's a good loss. Nothing bad happened. Everybody was still okay, but it was a loss
Just
of a
bittersweet.
separation. Yeah.
Just so
Yes.
bittersweet, man.
So that Toy Story 3 and 4 for me.
Keeping on with Pixar, man, I'm gonna group these two together, and they're probably not what you think. Inside Out
Yep.
and Coco.
Inside Out's on mine.
Inside
Yes.
Out and
Yes.
Coco. Inside Out, man, I cry like it's like in different sections of the movie.
Bing Bong.
I mean, Bing Bong, I still cry about Bing Bong.
Bing
Check
Bong.
this out, man.
Yeah. For those of you that are just listening to the podcast, Katie just showed us her Bing Bong.
Funko
What is
Pop.
that? Funko Pop
Pop.
toy.
Yeah.
Yes, and
When
and
Bing Bong says "Take her to the moon" for me,
"Oh my god!"
cry.
God,
Also,
son of a
that Bing
gun.
Bong was a gift. Was a gift from a student. They know how much I love it. But it's also the gripping ending of Riley just coming to terms and like being honest with her parents of how she's really feeling.
The music plays such an important role in that movie
Oh,
too.
man.
That
I'm
one,
Yeah.
that one
feels.
theme.
It's just
feels.
It's that theme music that they use.
Yeah,
That
they
they make
just-
very
they just-
happy, peppy, but also use very emotionally at the same time. When it's time for a sad scene, they use it very quietly, and you're like,
Yeah, they just have this suspension of chords where it's like it's very contemplative, and it's very difficult, especially as a young child, to be honest with your parents about your feelings. And so when she's finally hit that point where she's like, I can't hold it in anymore, it's just, it's so heartbreaking. But she goes to her parents, and they're like, we're not mad. We're your parents. We love you. We care about you. We understand what
so
you're feeling.
sad.
It's so good. And then same thing with Coco. It's almost the same thing with Coco, where Miguel has this realization, that family is important. I was actually thinking about that this weekend. I had my tios and titis to help me with something, and it was so refreshing to have that support of family. And I was reminded, like, these are my roots. And so when Miguel goes back and sings his uh to his mama Coco, man, that's deep. And it also reminds me the power of music. I know that's really cheesy, but it reminds me of the power
No.
of music because
No,
I
it's
have
not.
I have a friend that works with elderly people doing music therapy. And she's like, yeah, I see it all the time. They'll be like just dead to the world. They're still alive, but they're dead to the world. But as soon as you play a song, it's like they just light up, and it's like,
Mhm.
oh,
Yep.
that's so good. God.
There's two for me when it comes to music, and one of them, just thinking about it now, like I just can't help but feel it in like my gut. Like it's E.T. and it's the music in E.T. by John Williams. Just the beautiful piano, the interludes, even the very end of that movie when the credits roll and there's just this beautiful the end credits music is just gorgeous. But there's the part when E.T. is in the the hospital, and the doctors and scientists are trying to
So
resuscitate him and everything,
sad.
and he's slowly dying. And what's the kid's name again? Holy crap,
Elliot.
Henry Thomas, Elliot. Elliot's like, "You're killing him! You're killing him!" But
Mom
it's not
loves
even
to
that.
quote that.
It's the part where ET's dying and they're taking out the paddles and they're giving him the electroshocks to his chest, and the look on Drew Barrymore's face, and I feel it like right now, like, oh my gosh, when her face cracks like the way that a little
Yeah.
kid's face should crack when they're seeing something that intense, that physical right in front of them, her face when she
Yeah.
doesn't like start like it's just this silent like gasping, and she's just so sad
Yeah.
seeing this ET like just wither away that it just kills me every single time.
When we were kids,
You know?
I remember we would watch that movie and you would just be like ranting at them. I hate the government. I hate the government.
What was your second one, Brian?
And the second one, the music, I think it's one of the most underrated musical scores of all time. And I love watching it at Christmas time. I think it's just one of the most underrated movies of all time. And it's the Polar Express. The
Yeah.
music in the Polar
Really? You
Express.
cried for the Polar Express?
Absolutely.
Huh.
Because the Polar Express is on the surface, it's not a Santa Claus movie. There's a lot more depth to that movie.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
about
yes.
faith and belief and things that can never be taken away from you.
And
About
friendship.
memories and friendship and things like that. And so
My name
the
is
music
Billy.
What the
the
crap?
music
I'm
in
Billy.
that is just so it's so deep, and just hearing those themes throughout the film, it's not a cheery Christmas movie. It's a very somber Christmas movie, and
Yeah.
it makes you recall those memories and the nostalgia of Christmases when you were a kid. And so that music, that throughout that every time I get the tears well up for that one.
For me, speaking of music, a movie about music, this gets me every time, never fails, is Selena. Oh, the movie starring J-Lo about Selena Quintanilla. Have you guys ever seen that movie?
Yeah,
Sure
but I don't know
have.
if I was like crying. Like, I don't
Bro,
know.
I can't
That
do
movie
it.
doesn't do
I can't
anything
do
for
Bitty
it.
me.
bitty
She-
bum bum.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just like, J-Lo's butt is so big in the movie that I'm just like, don't squish
bitty
me.
bum bum.
Oh, come on. No. I love Selena because you see how they were when they were kids, and they were a family. It was really hard. They do what, families do. They fight, they argue, but they love each other so much. And it while a lot of it was stylized, I've heard from interviews that a lot of it was right on the money, and just she had such a passion for life and for music and for people, and she wanted kids, and it was such a tragedy, man. She was only 23. I think she was 23 when
Yeah.
she was
Wow.
murdered. That man, and I still listen to her music, man. I'm cleaning the house and I am just blaring.
Bitty bitty bum bum.
Well, not just that one. Dang, what am I not playing by her? I'm drawing a blank at the moment, but it's just the way that they do the editing of the movie. It's so chaotic. It's so everything is you have sirens going off, people crying, people yelling, and then it just cuts to the microphone on the stage, and then it's like, oh I can't anymore. My heart. Ileana, take it away quick.
One movie that makes me cry, and that it's a very long movie, super long, and I cried when I watched it for the first time. 4 separate times did I cry. My gosh, Les Miserables.
That's on my list too. Yes.
I cried 4 separate times watching that
Really?
movie.
Yeah.
Oh,
My
jeez.
gosh. The scene where Anne Hathaway's character is getting her
Beautiful.
hair cut, her teeth yanked
Yeah.
out, and she's just, that scene made me cry. And then the song that she sings made me cry. empty chairs and empty tables made me cry. The
Yeah.
whole scene with at the end when he's going to heaven and sees everybody else at the gates, tears. I'm literally just it is pouring out of my eyes. The music is so powerful. Hugh Jackman's voice in that first scene when he's
Yes.
tearing up the paper and throwing it into the wind, and he's got that red eye. He's tired, he's exhausted, and he's tearing up the paper, throwing it into wind, and holding that one long note as the music. Oh my gosh, is that amazing?
When we first saw that, I saw it with you and Mom, and there weren't many other people in the theater, but everybody was.
Yeah.
It wasn't just a. It was.
Oh, I know I was.
Like throughout the entire movie. It wasn't just like here and there. It was throughout the entire thing, just wheezing.
Oh my gosh. I still cry when I watch that movie. I don't. I seldom watch it, but whenever I do, I'm still like.
Yeah.
For me, one that definitely it's just a scene and it's an actor. It's in the movie Glory with Denzel Washington.
Man. Oh dang.
And I mean, I think when you get to this point too, there are certain films that I don't care who you are. If you're watching The Schindler's List, The 12 Years a Slave, those kinds of films,
You just can't help yourself, man.
you just can't help it. I think that's
Remember the Titans.
It's kind of when you see like how people are treated with so much hate and
like the
you weren't-
help.
it's inside of you that you have
Hidden
to cry.
Figures.
But it's in Glory for me when Denzel Washington, he went AWOL in the film, his character, but he was just going to go get shoes. He just needed shoes because he had no shoes, and so they're gonna whip him, as punishment. So when he takes off his shirt and they're just they're just shocked because he already has the scars of his slave life, but he's like, just do it. It's just that the performance that Denzel Washington gives, where he's, you can't crush him, you can't bring him down. He's gonna rise up. He's, you can't do anything more to him that the slave owners didn't do. And so he takes the whipping, he doesn't even let out a yelp or anything, but the tears that run down his eyes from the pain is just, it just makes you think of a time when people thought this was any kind of to have slaves or to do this kind of punishment was acceptable. And it's just always, and it's the beauty of his performance too, where you're just like, it's inside you where you just can't help but empathize and be in that moment.
So on a different type of sad, and it wasn't even, maybe it's not even sad, but I couldn't help but cry at this ending. Saving Mr. Banks.
Oh, I cried during that movie.
Yeah, you did. We both did.
So that's the movie you were talking about. Yeah, I definitely cried watching that movie.
Yeah, and it's really a tears of triumph, I guess, and just emotional impact. It's not really sad because it's not sad. You're watching Mrs. Travers react to what's it called? Mary Poppins. And according to the movie, which actually this is not true, but according to the movie, Mrs. Travers was just so overwhelmed with the beauty and magic of Mary Poppins that she's bawling in the theater too. So, but allegedly, that actually was not true. But I would like to believe
that she was moved to tears by the movie.
Because at least I would be in the same boat, because when at the end of Saving Mr. Banks, Ileana and I were like sobbing. Wesley and my pal Sarah, they were like, "Oh, well, that was a good movie." Oh yeah, like, let's go get some cheeseburgers. Meanwhile, Ileana and I are like, and like hugging each other. Oh my god! So,
That's funny.
Saving Mr. Banks.
I'm going to say that we each get a movie, one more movie each.
All right,
One more
I'm gonna
movie
give mine
each?
to Joanna. She had a few favorite movies that
Ooh.
made her cry. She wanted to share with everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen,
She told me about them today, so she has
Mrs.
to share
Joanna
them.
Bauman.
Hey.
Whoa! Hey, what up?
Hi, what's going on?
Tell us
Talk
what
about your favorite
moves
movies that made you cry.
Okay, yeah.
There's two. I know
There's
that.
two. So the first one I mentioned to Brian earlier was A Little Princess. Right? A Little Princess?
Yes.
Yeah. At the end, I don't know if you guys have seen the movie.
No,
No.
never heard of it.
What? Oh my gosh, you guys, it's so good. It was back like what, in the 90s?
Yeah, it was like 1994. It's on Netflix every now and then. I'd look
Okay.
it up. But yeah, go
Okay.
ahead. Go ahead.
Well,
Really quick, briefly.
I mean, at the end of the movie, there's just
So
I
pretty
mean,
much
okay.
this little girl has lost her father and she's in an orphanage and everything. And through matters of circumstances, she finds her father, who she thought was dead, but her father doesn't recognize her. So
Ah.
So she recognizes him
Mhm.
and she calls out at the end, Papa! Papa! And he's like, no, no, no. Like, I don't know you. Get away from me. She's like, no, Papa! And
Oh.
it's just ball fest. And
No.
then I won't spoil the
No,
movie.
I
but-
can't.
Oh
Oh,
man.
Okay, and then what's the other one?
Second
Yeah, go
one
ahead.
was Homeward Bound.
Oh, bro.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a
At
good
the
one.
end,
Shadow.
yeah. Yeah, Shadow. Oh,
You can do it, Shadow.
Oh, Peter.
I'm too old and broken. Oh.
Oh, how sad. Yeah,
Oh, man.
absolutely.
And
Wesley
then
I
Joanna
watched-
also mentioned Marley and Me, too.
That was on my
yeah,
list.
yeah,
Marley
yeah.
and Me.
I
That was on mine.
sobbed in
Yep,
the
I
theater.
sure
Yeah.
did. That was
All right, get
definitely
outta
on
here.
my
It's
list.
always
Thank
the
you,
dog movies.
Joanna.
Ladies and gentlemen. Mrs.
Bye bye,
Bauman.
Joanna Bauman.
Dun,
Thank
dun, dun,
you.
dun, 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 dun. All right.
Thanks, hon.
So one movie each. Last.
Okay. I'll tell you. I'll spitball my other ones. Seabiscuit, Moulin Rouge, $1 Million Babies, and this one is a little bit out there, but True Confessions. It was a Disney Channel movie with Shia LaBeouf. If you haven't seen that one, check it out.
yeah.
It's on Disney
Yeah.
Plus. That will make you cry. But the latest movie to just move me for various reasons was Logan with Hugh Jackman, my man, Jack Human. Once again,
Jack Human.
I saw this movie in theaters with Sarah Dunn, and it was so bad. Me crying in the theater was so bad. I had a hoodie on that ironically says Wolverine. That was my nickname in band. And I had my hood on, and I was literally like ugly crying from the point, spoilers for Logan, from the point that Professor X was dying, or when he died, possibly all the way to the end of the film.
Spoilers.
My
Yeah,
gosh.
I did give spoiler warning.
Crying the
but-
whole time.
It wasn't too bad until I got to the end. Like, I was audibly sobbing when Wolverine, he's like, so this is what it feels like. And I'm like, you've lived through so much. And then it was great because Sarah, actually, this is an actual thing. Sarah got up. She's like, all right, what do you want on your pizza? She was on her phone ordering
Goodness.
like Papa. She was on her phone like ordering Papa John's, and I
Damn,
look over.
cold
I know.
blooded.
She's asking me, what do you want on your pizza? And I turned to look at her. She's like, oh my God.
That's
Like,
funny.
I'm like, I don't care. So, Logan.
Brian, what you got?
All right, really quick. There's three. I have a lot of daddy issues now. I'm kind of wounded that way. So a lot of the films
Aren't we all?
aren't we all? So really quick, a few of them. and don't make fun of me, but Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 at the
Okay,
end with
yeah.
Yondu.
No.
Yeah, no, that's
And
good.
I feel I think that's like that speaks for like the past few years of my daddy issues that I have. And then one of my favorite movies, two really quick, Road to Perdition with Tom Hanks, a movie about daddy issues all the way around, and it just destroys me. And then probably the movie where I just teared buckets is Passion of the Christ. I mean, I
thought about that one too. Yeah.
I just sobbed every single time I saw it in theaters. So yeah.
All right, and then the last ones I've got are, of course, I feel like this is on everybody's list, The Notebook. You know?
No, it's not on my list.
Really? The Notebook?
No
You guys
way.
didn't cry watching The Notebook?
No.
I saw that
on.
with Grandma. I saw that with
Okay,
Grandma. I'm like,
well, I watched
no.
it on TV by myself, and heck, when the scene at the very end when the two of
When the
them,
old people died together.
it broke me.
Spoiler.
It
Spoiler.
broke me. I was so, or even like, when she's like, I don't know you. They're dancing together, and then she
Yeah.
says, I don't know.
Man.
That was sad, but it wasn't like
I'm kind of I don't know. It's
it broke my heart. Comment or like the video if you cried watching The Notebook. Validate me, please. And then my last one was Grave of the Fireflies, a Studio Ghibli movie that is very sad, following World War II. Two little kids who are affected heavily by the war, orphaned, lost their parents, and are starving during that time. And it's just the weight of the war and how it affected those people during that time, after the bombs had dropped, and to see these, starving children living in, a cave pretty much, and having to fend for themselves. One of them is still in diapers, and the other one is just a young boy taking care of his sister. And gosh,
Jeez.
it is brutal to see, what happened. And there, Miyazaki is not kind when it comes to laying back the details. He's like, no, here's all the details. Have fun crying and seeing the actuality of what happened. So that's my last pick.
Man, we could spend a whole episode just talking about war films. The one that came to mind that I also cry on was Life is Beautiful. Every time, man.
Oh yeah,
Every
that was on my
time.
list too. But yeah, that's a great one. That is
Every
pure
time.
one.
And with
Absolutely,
that,
dude.
I hope you guys, are not in your sniffles. Everybody put away your tissues. It's okay.
Blame it on the pollen. Blame it
I
on
think
the
if we
pollen,
learned
man.
anything, it's that it's good to cry in movies. If there's movies that touch you and move you, cry. Let it all out.
Go
man.
watch
Just let
Inside
it
Out
all
to figure
out.
out that.
Let
Go
it all out.
watch Inside Out to know that sad emotions are helpful. It's okay to cry.
Yeah.
So that is it for the sad movies that we have watched, and I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you liked this episode, please like and subscribe. And we hope to see you guys in next week's episode. We don't know what we're talking about yet, but I'm sure we'll figure it out. And if you guys haven't seen our past videos, we have 19 of them for you to go check out. Episode 20. Hope you guys enjoyed.
Subscribe.
Thank you so much for listening. And we'll
Love
see
you
you
guys.
next time.
Thank you. See you next time, guys.
Bye-bye.